They didn't want to be in their room sorting their clothing. So I tried to make it as simple and easy, as painless as possible. I was thinking about what I would share about doing kids' clothing, and I realized that I'm actually using what my daughter used when she was small and I'd only just started decluttering. And in my last video I showed that I was using this on my wardrobe, part of my wardrobe system, and it's what I store all the things that can't be hung in the wardrobe. And so I thought it's about time I painted that. And why hadn't I already painted it? We've got some leftover chalk paint from when we did our kitchen, and so I thought I'm going to do that today while I talk to you. It's just kind of symbolic of the fact that this was when I started decluttering. My daughter was using this small set of drawers. I managed to keep all of her clothing in this for the longest of times. Not until in the last year or so, she's just turned 15, have we upgraded to a much bigger set of drawers, because quite honestly she needs the room. And I had been using my husband's on his big chest for things that I didn't want hung. And then when this came available, I thought, I have my own. It's still small, I hardly have a whole lot in it, but it definitely needs to be white because pink is not my colour. So it's gotta go. I haven't gone the whole hog and removed the drawer fronts from the drawers, because behind it's all white. And I'll do it with paint, and then I'll do it with a roller to finish, so I've got a nice finish, and then I'll do the matte colour to cover it so that it stays protected. But while I'm doing this, I want to talk about kids' clothing, and I'm going to do kids' clothing in two separate videos. One is for teenagers and one is for smaller children. Younger children are very different from teenagers. Teenagers tend to start having their own opinions about things, they start to have their own money, they don't necessarily adopt exactly how you do things in their own bedroom, and so they do start to become less moldable and less directed by you. Younger children, I'm saying the age between say 4 and 5 to about 11 or 12, often they're not that interested in how things are stored. They don't mind you giving it a go, they just don't want to have to be involved too much, unless you have a pedantic child that really likes this sort of thing. What I found was it's just a very different process to how you do it. It's the same technique, it's just how you approach it, because of the different relational game that's going on between younger children and teenagers. So today I'm going to cover younger children. Now you have about 80 to 100% control of what they wear, how they store it, what you buy for them, what they keep. And so you have a lot of push as to how you're going to manage this. But it is about getting them on board. They're not adults, but they're not babies anymore. They will have opinions, and they don't want you throwing out their good stuff. They don't want you to remove the things that they really care about and enjoy wearing. So what you do is you start to gather all of their things together in one space. You do that for them. Look at me, I've got paint on me already. So while that dries, I'm going to tell you how I got started. I'm really hoping that you can hear me over the car noise outside, but it doesn't seem to be that loud. So I started minimalism when my younger children were 9 and 11, and my oldest had already left home. And they weren't that interested in what I was doing. They didn't really understand the concepts of minimalism or decluttering. They just wanted to go outside and play with their friends, actually, or watch telly. They didn't want to be in their room sorting their clothing. So I tried to make it as simple and easy, as painless as possible for them to be able to get involved and help me process their clothing so they didn't throw out things that they truly loved. So what I did was I did a lot of the groundwork. I emptied out the drawers, emptied out the wardrobe, and I gathered them so that all they had to do was say yes or no when I held up an item. Now I did say this to them, come and help me, give me 15 minutes of your time so that I don't throw out anything that you love. So they came. I do remember vividly getting my daughter settled on the floor with her dolls, and she would just lift up her head and say yes or no to an item, and that was all she needed to do. So I do encourage you to get them on the floor. Maybe your son will play with some racing cars or some Lego, just doing something around you so that they're not necessarily having to stand there and just watch and be bored. They're being distracted, but they're still able to answer questions. It only takes a few seconds. If they said no, I did push for a bit more information to find out why, mostly because I didn't want to throw out something that was perfectly fine and I'd spent good money on. So saying no because it was too big meant I could put it away for next year. Saying no because it really didn't fit them anymore that was fine. I could put it away to give it away. The other one was if it had been destroyed or they really hated it and they never wore it. So that was a little bit of a discussion. Sometimes I could encourage them to try one more time. Maybe they might like to wear it to the next birthday party. Maybe it was something that was just never going to be of interest to them. Predominantly most of it was what they wanted was what we kept or gave away and got rid of. Now when you've finished sorting the items, you can often think, now I've still got too much. They've kept what they really like, but it's still in excess. So now you need to narrow it down with them just a little bit more. Ask them either or, which would they choose if they had to get rid of one or they had to keep just one. Just keep doing this until you start to get to a pile that you consider to be what would be useful to you in a week or 10 days. I really truly think a week is enough. In the end, what I would settle on is 5 outfits for 5 days, not including school uniforms. This would be outside of school, what they wear after. I would also have a few really good outfits for going out to dinner or to a birthday party, and then they also had to have the exercise gear for sports that they did and pajamas. That would be probably all they needed. Now obviously a girl will often have more items to sort through than a boy because she has the added features of dresses and skirts and maybe different types of tops, whereas a guy will just have shirts and t-shirts. So it's a case of keeping in mind those factors when they might have some beautiful things that will be excess to what they truly need, but you know that they're going to wear them regardless, which is the whole point of this process. You're wanting to have things that they're wearing all the time, using, and not just being stored for the sake of it. What I wanted was to make sure they had enough. When I started this process, my primary goal was making sure that we were reducing the amount of laundry and clutter and stuff that I was having to deal with on a daily basis. I was sick of fighting the laundry battle and having to get it washed, dried, folded, put away, only to find there's more coming back at me. And I wanted to eliminate this and make sure that even if things were in the wash, I knew they still had clothing that they were willing to wear, loved wearing, in their drawers waiting for them. On top of that, what I did was make a decision for myself that I was willing to go and buy items that we had discarded if I realized I'd made a mistake. This is all a trial and error. It's a bit of a muscle that you're learning to make strong. And so when you're removing things from their wardrobe, you can sometimes panic that you're getting rid of things that they're really going to need. But what I would suggest is make a deal with yourself. Either put the things that you're discarding away in a box somewhere completely out of sight, so that in a month, if you haven't used them, you can definitely take them to Goodwill. Or you decide that you're willing to spend some extra money on this experiment if you choose to get rid of something and then realize, oops, I shouldn't have got rid of that. So when it came to putting everything away, back in their drawers, I did get them to help me. Now nothing had changed. Their bedroom had remained exactly the same. I didn't make them new wardrobes and get them new furniture so that we could have this new decluttered lifestyle. I used exactly what I've got, and I really encourage you to do so. Do not invest more money in this. It's trying to reduce the stress, not increase it. So my daughter had her little set of drawers, this exact one, that was just 4 drawers, and she had her wardrobe. And we would put everything back that she wanted, and she decided where it went, and she helped me hang things. My son did exactly the same. He hung his jackets, mostly went up in the wardrobe, but the rest of it went into his drawers. And I've just found nothing really changed in the way of storage, except for the fact that when they opened it, everything that they loved was there, and everything that they wanted to wear was available to them, and they actually knew where it was. And an added bonus was that when the washing came back, they knew exactly where it went, and they couldn't tell me otherwise. So I'm really hoping that this video has helped you. This is a process. You're learning how to do something new and different, and getting rid of stuff is scary when you've spent good money on it, but it's also not, because you're relieving a lot of the stress that you normally would have had and starting to ease the pressure on yourself and on your kids, because you're not nagging at them anymore to put all this clothing away. So what I suggest is, if you've got any questions, if I've missed any points, please put them in the comments below. And if you would like to find out a bit more about how I deal with teenagers, I would ask you to subscribe. I know that that's my next video going out. I'm going to do my daughter's wardrobe with her in the next few days so that I can show you how I do it. But until next time, bye for now.